Hi guys, it's me, Evangelina, and yes, this is In Between Devotions. This is our God and Marriage segment, and today we will be talking about submission. This wonderful guy is going to be behind the camera today, and he's going to be asking me questions. So let's just go ahead and get to it.
Alright, we are going to be talking about submission, and I just kind of want to ask your opinion on submission.
Just go straight into the hard stuff.
So the definition of submission is the act of accepting the authority of another person. That's the definition. You can look it up in Webster, whatever you want to do, but that's the definition of it. And we know biblically, wives should submit to their husbands. So, being that submission is a hot topic when it comes to marriage, what are your thoughts on submission?
I feel that wives should submit to their husbands or their significant other. I know that when we as women, we hear the word submission, we're already defensive about the word because it is, in a sense, old-fashioned to think that we should submit to our significant other. And I say old-fashioned because when I used to think of submission, I used to see it as me not having a choice. That the man's word is law. If he says no, he says no, and that's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I also pictured me being at home, cleaning, cooking, taking care of kids. And I think that's the picture that a lot of women see when they think of submission. Submission equals no free will. And when you truly look at it, and you're in a relationship where you and your partner have a connection, not just a natural connection, but a connection that y'all built. Submission doesn't mean that you don't have free will. And I think that's where a lot of women get hung up, is that for them, submission means no free will. And that's not the case.
I got you. Yeah, so, pretty much just because you're submissive doesn't mean you can't, have a different opinion. Right? So, on the side of a husband then, can you submit to your husband if he's not leading the right way? Because we talked about a healthy relationship just now.
No. If you are in a relationship and you feel that your partner that your significant other does not have your best interest or your family's best interest at heart, I don't think that you should submit. You shouldn't. If you feel that your significant other is not in the right mindset, or if you feel like you or y'all's family could be put in a compromising situation, whatever that situation may be, whether it's financially, whether it's maybe needs not being met, whatever the case may be. If you feel that your significant other isn't prepared to be the leader of your family and prepared or ready to fill that role, then no, by all means, don't submit. I did it, and we recently had this conversation about 2-3 years ago. Had you asked me about submitting, I wouldn't necessarily agree with it.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question now. Is there such thing as partial submission? Because I don't want it to seem like when you're saying no, you shouldn't submit, I don't want nobody to go out there and get themselves like
I'm not saying
into some sort of situation. I'm just asking, is there such thing as partial submission? I'm just curious on that.
I don't know if it's submission per se, but I'm not saying don't be rude and disrespectful to your significant other if you don't agree with his actions or his choices. What I'm saying is that it's okay to not allow your partner to lead your household if you feel like his direction isn't the right one. It's okay to have those conversations, because those will be awkward, uncomfortable conversations.
I think the conversations can lead that individual who is lost in their leadership, can lead them back to leadership.
Yeah, of course. Because if you don't have those conversations, your significant other will never know that this is how you feel. He will never know that you aren't comfortable, or you can't allow him to be a leader, or you can't give him that control because you don't trust him. You don't have faith in his decisions. If you don't tell him that, he never knows. And if he doesn't know, then you can never move forward.
So, expanding on that last question about submitting to your husband. So, we both heard a sermon where the pastor described how, a husband should be someone that's worth submitting to. Are they leading the household right? Things like that. So, with that being said, am I worth submitting to? And not trying to make this about me, but the idea of a husband, your husband.
a few years ago, I would have said no. I would have said no, because where we were at, 2, 3, 4 years ago, I didn't trust you. Despite the relationship that we have and the communication that we have, I did not trust your decision making for me and for our family. We were both working through things, and when I would come to you with something that was bothering me, or something that I needed from you that I wasn't getting, and then I would have to come back and tell you again and again. And for me, I felt like if I couldn't come to you with things like that, how I was feeling, what I needed emotionally, or what I needed from you, whether it's at home, doing mundane things like dishes or trash or whatever it was, and I couldn't get you to do it, and it was something that I had to continue to address. I felt like if I couldn't trust you with those things, then I couldn't trust you with the direction our family was going in. And I didn't submit to you. It wasn't a huge issue, but it did cause some problems because you weren't necessarily ready to be the leader of our household, but you were trying to, because that's how you were raised.
Shout out to my mama.
You were raised that when you have a family, you're the man of the house. That's your responsibility. Your responsibility is to take care of us. And so you were trying, but you weren't ready. And it did cause issues because, again, you were trying, and I couldn't let you step into that role because I didn't feel that you were capable of it. And it's hard when you have we had this conversation yesterday. It's hard to have two lost souls trying to help each other out. We've come a long way from where we were at, a real long way. So now, asking me that question, there's no doubt, of course, you are worth submitting to.